Namaste and welcome to the Fraud Examiner podcast. I'm your host Vijay Giri, Certified Fraud Examiner and VP of Fraud Control Unit.
And I'm Priya, your co-host. Today we are diving into a shocking case that shows how traditional Ponzi schemes have found new life on social media platforms.
That's right, Priya. We're talking about 19-year-old Kashif Mirza from Ajmer, Rajasthan, a class 11 student who managed to dupe over 200 people of rupees 42 lakh through Instagram.
42 lakhs. That's a staggering amount for someone who's not even out of school yet. Vijay's case perfectly demonstrates the dangerous intersection of social media influence and financial fraud, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Priya. Let me paint the picture for our listeners. In November 2024, Rajasthan police arrested Kashif Mirza, who had built a substantial following on Instagram and was using his influencer status to run what we call a classic Ponzi scheme.
And the modus operandi was brilliantly simple yet devastating. Kashif promised investors that they could turn rupees 99,999 into rupees 1,39,999 in just 13 weeks. That's a 40% return in roughly 3 months.
Exactly. Now, as fraud examiners, we know this is the first major red flag. No legitimate investment can guarantee such returns consistently. But here's where it gets interesting. Kashif wasn't operating from some dark corner of the internet.
No, he was hiding in plain sight, using Instagram, posting lifestyle content, building trust through social media engagement. The victim saw his posts, his lifestyle, his apparent success, and thought, this young man knows something I don't.
That's the power of social proof, Priya. And here's the classic Ponzi element. Initially, he actually paid some early investors their promised returns using money from newer investors.
Which created a snowball effect. Those early investors became his unpaid marketing team, telling friends and family about this amazing opportunity. Word-of-mouth marketing is incredibly powerful, especially when it comes from people you trust.
When police arrested him, they recovered some telling evidence. A Hyundai Verna, cash-counting machines, multiple phones and laptops. This shows he was operating at scale and had invested heavily in maintaining his fraudulent lifestyle.
Vijay, what fascinates me about this case is the psychological manipulation involved. We are dealing with a generation gap in digital literacy here.
You're absolutely right, Priya. This case highlights what I call reverse authority bias. Traditionally, we expect financial wisdom to come from experienced older professionals, but social media has flipped this dynamic.
Exactly. Young people today are seen as digital natives, tech-savvy and connected to new opportunities. Parents and older investors might think, this young man understands the digital economy better than I do.
And Kashif exploited this beautifully. By positioning himself as a young, successful influencer, he tapped into several psychological triggers.
Let me guess, FOMO, social proof and authority bias.
Perfect, Priya. Fear of missing out was huge here. When people saw others apparently making money, they didn't want to be left behind. The social proof came from his Instagram following and the testimonials from early successful investors.
And the authority bias came from his influencer status. In the digital age, follower count often translates to credibility, even in financial matters where it shouldn't.
There's also something called availability heuristic at play. People judge the probability of success based on how easily they can recall examples, and social media makes these success stories very visible and memorable.
Now, Vijay, let's help our listeners identify the red flags they should have spotted in Kashif's scheme.
Excellent point. Red flag number 1, guaranteed high returns. Any promise of 40% returns in 13 weeks should immediately trigger your fraud detector.
Red flag number 2, lack of regulatory registration. Listeners, always check if their person offering investment opportunities is registered with SEBI, IRDAI, or other relevant regulatory bodies.
Red flag number 3, social media as the primary marketing channel. Legitimate investment opportunities don't rely solely on Instagram posts and WhatsApp messages for marketing.
And red flag number 4, pressure to recruit others. Classic Ponzi schemes often encourage investors to bring in more people. If someone asks you to spread the word about an investment opportunity, be very cautious.
Red flag number 5, vague investment strategy. Kashif never explained how he would generate these returns. What business, what market, what strategy? Legitimate investments have transparent methodologies.
And red flag number 6, age and experience mismatch. While we shouldn't discriminate based on age, a 19-year-old class 11 student managing crores of rupees should raise questions about qualification and experience.
Great point, Priya. And here's something specifically for the insurance sector. Be wary of social media influencers promoting guaranteed return insurance or investment products. These often violate IRDAI guidelines.
So, Vijay, how can our listeners protect themselves and their families?
First and foremost, due diligence is non-negotiable. Before investing even 1,000 rupees, verify the person's credentials, check regulatory registrations, and research the company or scheme thoroughly.
And don't just rely on Google searches. Contact SEBI, IRDAI, or RBI directly to verify registrations. These regulatory bodies have helplines and websites for public verification.
Second, implement the too good to be true rule. If someone promises returns that seem exceptionally high, especially with guarantees, step back and analyze rationally.
Third, diversify your information sources. Don't make investment decisions solely based on social media posts or friend recommendations. Consult certified financial advisors, read official documents.
Fourth, implement the 48-hour rule. Never make investment decisions under pressure or immediately after hearing an opportunity. Take at least 48 hours to research and think.
Fifth, verify through official channels. If someone claims to be offering bank or insurance products, contact the bank or insurance company directly to verify.
And here's a crucial tip for parents. Have regular conversations with your children about financial literacy and fraud awareness. Young people are often targets for both investment scams and recruitment as money mules.
Absolutely. And if you encounter such schemes, report them immediately to the cybercrime cell, local police, and relevant regulatory authorities.
Quick reporting can prevent others from becoming victims.
Priya, this case also highlights important regulatory implications, especially in the context of IRDAI guidelines and financial sector regulations.
Exactly. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India has been very clear about unauthorized persons offering insurance for investment products. This case shows how digital media can be misused to bypass traditional regulatory oversight.
As fraud examiners, we are seeing an evolution in fraud patterns. Traditional Ponzi schemes are now leveraging digital platforms, influencer marketing, and social proof to appear more legitimate.
And this creates new challenges for both regulators and consumers. The speed at which information spreads on social media means scams can reach hundreds of victims within days.
For our listeners in the insurance industry, this case is particularly relevant. Social media influencers are increasingly promoting insurance products without proper authorization. Always verify IRDAI registration before engaging with such promoters.
The Kashif Mirza case teaches us that fraud has evolved, but the fundamentals remain the same. Verify, research, and think critically before investing.
Remember, legitimate wealth creation takes time, involves risk, and requires proper expertise. Anyone promising shortcuts is likely selling you a scam.
That's all for today's episode of The Fraud Examiner. Remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Stay vigilant, stay informed, and help us build a fraud-aware society. If you found this episode useful, please share it with your friends and family.
You can find more fraud prevention resources at thefraudexaminer.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for weekly fraud insights.
Until next time, this is Vijay and Priya signing off.